Welcome to the Gamescom special. This year again with Martin Ahman.
There he is, right over there.
Hi there.
Nice. So, let's start with
On this
questions.
very special
AJ?
episode of SceneWorld.
Yeah, sure. Actually, it's our most successful one almost each year, so people love it.
I thought you were predicting that this one was going to be the most successful, and I was like, dude, we haven't even recorded it yet.
Who knows? Okay. So as every year, this year also we went to the business area, did some interviews. We had some new things this year. We had a big roll up and huge posters and so on, because we had Jürgen and his two sons with us, and he did all the promotion material. So we had a very beautiful booth this year, and we met them at the McDonald's last year.
Yeah, I want to point out, just for your reference, today I am rocking the...
Wow. For the first time ever, AJ is wearing the SceneWorld.
I try not to wear it that often because it's a white T-shirt, and like if I wear it all the time, it'll just turn yellow from like sweat and stuff. So
never happened to me. Are your washing machines different? Oh yes,
no.
They only run on 110 volts.
Yours is so much nicer. Why don't I have one of those?
Because we got them printed this year newly for the school members. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, come to Gamescom next year, then you get one too. Yes. So I guess we will put in their pictures so people can see what the booth looked like. And our other Martin Wisnowski, actually did the graphical work. And he already had the idea to make a gallery with some VIPs from the tech industry we interviewed, like Chris Hülsbeck, who was also there with Factor 5, and our Lars Subirai, Gandhi, the old Amiga scener, and right, and other people.
Number 1 and number 50.
Exactly, and the picture taker. And Marty Cooper, the inventor of the mobile phone, just for reference, because Marty put up his mobile phone there. Yes, and I have to admit, interviews this year for the business area were a bit special because. Usually we only had an appointment at a publisher for one game, but this year they were like, oh, by the way, we have a few more games. Do we have enough time? Then we can show you more games than just the one that you were invited for. So we saw a lot of stuff. For example, we got an invitation for Pro Evolution Soccer presentation at Konami, and the PR manager actually was calling me from the PR company and said, oh, by the way, I saw your email. You were asking for an appointment at Konami. Why not including Hypersports R2? So Hypersports is actually the successor of the 1984 game, arcade game and computer game, and they are making a successor to it for the Switch. And especially Martin was totally, physically active while playing this game on the Switch. Maybe you can tell us a bit about it.
Well, yeah, I was playing two games instead. Which one do you want to talk about?
The Hypersports are?
Hypersports, yeah. Because first I tried this virtual reality stuff. I never had these glasses on, and well, I tried. It was not that successful.
Angie, I remember now. The winner of the year was Hesperia Gales.
No idle talk, you'll crash, Dingo.
In the final 30 seconds, Henry G trashed out from field out. Man, we had a great time that night.
20 to touchdown. Can't wait for the new season.
Good morning. Ready for combat operation.
This is Orbital Frame Jehuti. Do you want me to explain how to manipulate the frame?
My liver's damaged. Damn Baram.
Baram from Mars? How can you tell?
Oh, you don't look like a mining man to me.
Get lost. Wait, I'm not with Baram.
Jehuti. Well, this is an unexpected quarry.
You're the quarry, you jerk.
Well. How can just one orbital frame match our armada?
A target warship has emerged.
That's no warship. That's an orbital frame. Deploy! Quick!
But to match Anubis, Jehuti lacks one thing. A program to bring out the full performance of Jehuti.
If we get it, can we defeat Anubis?
That depends on the skill of the runner.
Pressure rising normally. Life ring has started revolving. Ready to fire.
This aura. Who are you? Damn, it's too tough!
I remember you.
Noman. It's Bingo.
But when I played Hypersports, this is quite cool because you have these controllers from the Switch and you can have both in the hands, and in order to run you had to swing them up and down like an idiot. And acting like an idiot is one thing I can do successfully from the scratch. And and
just flail around.
yeah, and we had a little competition because Jörg and I played this game, and I think I was a bit better than you. I don't know, but
Yeah. I did the lazy method. I just smashed the buttons without moving.
okay. But
Yes,
I swing my arms up and down, and this was pure fun because in the end it was like playing summer games on the C64 when you mashed your joystick like hell, and it was quite nice.
It's actually interesting because Celine, the PR manager from Konami Digital UK, she actually coined the presentation on track and field players and summer games players. So Konami is really targeting the retro gamers now, and that's totally surprising because, as you know, in the recent years, Konami was all about, AAA games and Pro Evolution Soccer and beating EA at FIFA Soccer and so on. And this year they really took care of that. So when Nicole, the PR agent, called me, she was really happy, like, we have some more appointments. And Celine was really very enthusiastic about Olympic Games, and the first impression of the other press members, okay, a sports game. Is that really something? Yeah. It was much more fun than people expected, actually.
So you're saying that they're targeting retro gamers with a lot of this stuff. How are they doing that?
Well, I guess I have to play the old Hypersports from '84 again, but it has clearly references. And you have the same kind of control, like button smashing, as you did with the wiggle joysticks back in the day. You can get a Pro controller and do the same thing with the analog sticks now.
Right.
So you can get a similar experience.
Yeah, okay. And I think they don't try to get this kind of realism in the games like they do nowadays, and it was quite just comic graphics and focusing on fun. Actually, it just was gameplay, and not I think it was just nice to play a game again, not to see we have realistic graphics and some physics there, and it was just like the first Wii games, like the C64 games, the Amiga games, which are just focused on having fun.
Exactly. Yeah. It's family friendly, which is also something the Switch, the Wii was known for back in the day.
Yes.
And and it's interesting because in general last year when we asked how about a Switch version, everybody was like, yeah, Switch is too slow. No, we are not releasing on that. And this year it was like, oh, we are actually considering a Switch version, Even EA released FIFA Soccer 18 on Switch now, and we also were invited at other publishers like Assemble. And Assemble is actually a publisher that was created out of former employers by Calypso, and Calypso is known for having worked with Cinemaware back in the day, like 4 years ago, to release the Wings Remastered, the very successful Kickstarter, and so they actually concentrate on old IPs from the Amiga PC, retro PC times and C64 and re-release them. For example, or make successors. For example, Pizza Connection, you know?
Pizza Connection?
Yeah, they made a Pizza Connection 3 recently.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are working on the latest Larry game too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wet Dreams Don't Try. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a typical Leisure Suit Larry game.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess Martin is getting something.
Well, I was in search of the material we got from them. We had what's it called? Handkerchiefs? I don't know.
Handkerchiefs, yeah.
Handkerchiefs with Larry on it.
Lost
you know, Wet Dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And we had actually a lot of fun because Jörg, we saw the game and we had this interview with them, and actually it was like playing a real Larry game from the past with modern graphics. But what was I think the clue was that they had 2D sprites which don't try to be realistic again. If you change your direction, it's just flipping 19 degrees directly, like in the old days. And this was very funny. When we were in the bar in Larry, you saw pixels, graphics on the wall, like 1980, and this is also this reference to old games.
So today we are talking to Heine and Malte from Crazy Bunch, and you are the developers of Leisure Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Try.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. And today we talk about this game that is coming up. It's an adventure point and click adventure, and it was actually traditional Sayara product from LO, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I wonder, how did you get involved in doing such an old school classic in a, I don't know, special set? I mean, Crazy Bunch, that sounds perfect for such a wet game, you know. So how did you get involved, actually?
Yeah, first of all, we got a point and click adventure background. So we founded our company 4 years ago, and before that we worked for Daedalic Entertainment. So we worked on the series like the Deponia series, or like Memoria, Night of the Rabbit, and we also co-developed Anna's Quest together with Daedalic Entertainment. And for the Larry license, it was just like our publisher, as Assemble Entertainment. They bought the license from Codemasters, so they licensed the product for 2 games, I think. And they were searching for a developer for the game. It was actually a quite funny story, because Stefan, the CEO of Assemble Entertainment, he wrote me on Facebook actually, and he just asked me, hey Malte, we have a new game project, I want to show you, come to Wiesbaden, visit us, and I'm going to tell you then which game it is. I was like, oh okay, let's just go there. And we were just finishing up our current product, Crypt Crawler, Virtual Reality Dungeon Crawler, and we had some problems with the release and had to do a night shift.
Wow.
And in the next morning we drove to Wiesbaden, 5 hours from Hamburg. Wow. We got there, we were like, we hadn't slept at all. We were like, and they presented us the Larry game, and they said, yeah, we want to make a new Larry game, and we were like,
could we have some more coffee, please?
We want to sleep.
So maybe we had a good poker face there. We don't know.
But then 2 days later, he called me and said, yeah, go.
Okay.
So it was great.
And then we had to start developing pretty quickly. We started in September last year, and so it's not yet like a year even.
Yeah.
Wow.
So August.
Okay. And when do you plan to finish it? Did you have a set time frame? Because you said you started right away, so you are under time pressure in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was always going to be like 1 year of development from the start.
Oh,
we knew that right away.
Okay.
And we now have an official release date. It is November 7th.
Wow, nice. So just right for Christmas.
Yeah,
actually.
right. Yeah.
Okay. So what are your functions in the game? I mean, what is your kind of work you are involved with the games?
Yeah, I was game designer and I was in the creative direction too, and I've done a lot of puzzle design for the game. Was involved in the making of the story, and I was involved in briefing the artists for the characters, etc. For the character design and stuff. So. Much of the stuff in the game, it's I worked on that too.
And your function?
I'm mainly a programmer.
Okay.
But we're a very small team, and so I worked on many parts of the game as well.
Okay, I see.
I also helped with the story. I hope at least that it helped.
Okay. You mentioned character. The first reaction when Assemble released the promo video, the trailer in German and in English, the first reaction was the new Larry doesn't look like Larry, and the assembler said, yes, it looks like Larry, but it's one of the first Larry series where he was taller and not such tiny, bold person like in the later series, part of the series. Why did you actually decide to go back to the old character design?
Because our approach to the game, the very basic and general idea is that we take the very original Larry from 1987, more or less, and we put him in our time. So like a man out of time story, a fish out of water story, if you want. Like Austin Powers story, for example. So
Larry still thinks it's the 80s. And there's some surprises for him.
And so we also wanted him to be like the original Larry regarding the looks. But also we wanted, that was not the only reason why we redesigned him. We also wanted him to make him look more like the other characters, to have an art design which fits all the characters. And we also wanted to make him more sympathetic in a way. So he's not that little sleaze anymore. We somehow say we guy brushed him a bit.
Okay.
So he's more like an anti-hero now.
But also he's still a clueless jerk. So
yeah.
We didn't change that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't change him too much. I mean, it's a Larry game. Larry needs to be sleazy in some way.
Yeah, and he doesn't know how to talk to women. So.
Okay.
And he
so
gets into trouble.
He didn't grow older in any way. He's still in his same age he was in the original game.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
One day he just woke up in the future.
Okay.
It just pops up there.
Yeah. It's like Larry walks into a bar and it's 2008.
Okay.
That's the beginning of the journey.
I wonder, I mean, I also spoke to people from Lucasfilm games, you know, Ron Gilbert and so on, and there was always a clash in the past between Sierra games and Lucasfilms, later Lucas Arts games, adventures, you know, there was always kind of a competition, and they always inserted some hints about other games, you know. Yeah. Did you include that too? Some side jokes that only the old fans from...
We have lots of stuff like that.
We love Easter eggs, and there's plenty of them in the game.
There's a lot of things of other adventure games, but there's also references of pop culture and stuff. So every screen actually has at least some things which has references in it to something. So,
I see.
And also. I was born in 1988, so I'm more like LucasArts fan. I've grown up with LucasArts adventures, so because I'm a bit too young for Larry. Of course, I played them all.
When you were older, of course.
Yeah, but I'm a bit.
As soon as it was legal when you play them, right?
But I'm a bit young for that, and so a lot of my inspiration for the game came from LucasArts adventures. So we have a little bit of a mixture of those Sierra stuff in there and the LucasArts games. For example, we did a lot more focus on the puzzle design. We have really hard puzzles in there and a lot of items which earlier Larry games didn't have. Like, I don't know, I think Love for Sale has like 60 items and we have like 170 items.
Okay.
Yeah.
how about dead ends? I mean, Sierra Games and Lucasfilm Games were known that you have dead ends, you know. I mean, even if you get a warning, don't do this or you might die, and people do it anyway, you die.
Yeah.
Or did you go with modern game design where you can't have a dead end?
Yeah, we stick to the rules of Ron Gilbert, of the adventure rules, of the point-and-click adventure rules, mostly.
Okay.
And there's no dead ends, no mini games, for example. And so there also are no mini games
Okay.
in the game, and no dead ends.
So now we know what we don't get.
Yeah.
What do we get?
You get extremely funny characters, all cliche stereotype characters, which fit Larry perfectly. And you get lots of puzzles. You get 10 hours of playtime, over 30 hand-drawn 2D backgrounds with lots of details and 4K resolution if you want to.
Yeah, and also 30 characters, 7 dateable characters.
That sounds more like a King Quest later titles game, like a comic style. You didn't go for pixel graphics.
No, we did not. Maybe we have some.
That might be a spoiler.
Yeah, that might be a spoiler, but maybe we have some surprise.
I see. Okay.
At least Lefty kept his pixel woman in the bar. I didn't know if you've seen that or.
He hasn't redecorated since the 80s.
Yeah, he still has a pixel lady poster. We can show you later.
As long as there are no chainsaw in one game and the gas in the other game, we are all good. Or no hamster that
don't want to spoil it.
or hamster that explodes in the microwave or something. You know.
I see you've played a point-and-click adventure game before.
Yeah. I'm like you. I grown up with Lucasfilm games, so I'm pretty much aware. Okay. So. How long, how detailed is it? How much platforms do you support? I guess there's a limit. I mean, on the PC you can make it endless, but on a Switch cartridge that would be quite limited. So what is your plan about the size of the game?
So as I already told you, we got like we think we got like 10 hours of playtime.
Okay.
So that's a full-fledged point-and-click adventure.
Okay.
But it also depends. Like some guys might be very quick solving the puzzles, and some guys might need very long for it. So with point-and-click adventures, it's always very hard to tell what playtime actually is.
How do you make sure that the old fashioned gamer likes the game, and also the new ones that don't have the patience, the attention span to solve all the riddles in time? Do you have something to help the gamers, like different difficulty settings to choose from or anything?
No, we don't have anything like that. Also, we don't have any hint system or something. But you can show all the hotspots on one screen.
Wow.
But that's optional because some people might want to search the screen for the hotspot they want to click. And we thought we'd just make it like all optional stuff you do, like examining objects on the screen or examining objects in your inventory, or doing optional dialogue options, for example, with characters. And if you do so, you get hints for the puzzles.
So the hint system, if you will, is built into the game organically. And also we rely on people to just upload walkthroughs.
Okay, nice.
We also have a smartphone interface later because Larry gets his own smartphone. And you can unlock several apps during the game. And we also thought about we just make a walkthrough app which you can use.
That sounds a bit like Roger Wilco in Space Quest, where he has a Windows 3.1 in some part, like a computer that looks like Windows.
Yeah, but it's not that sophisticated. So you have those apps. You can do some stuff with it. For example, we have an app where you can rewatch video cutscenes we have in the game and stuff. We have those dating app, which is quite cool because you can. We have lots of characters there which you can swipe left and right. It's called Timber.
Okay. So how about voice acting? Did you get some voice actors that were famous, or how did you approach that?
By now we only have the English voiceovers, and only for the beginning, so for the Gamescom demo version actually.
Okay.
So and those are all of them are new
Okay.
So we don't have any voice actors, I think, which have done voice acting for other Larry games. So,
that was my question about, yeah.
But the German voice of Larry, that we confirmed, will be Philip Moog, and that's the German voice of Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother.
Nice.
So
great.
that would be quite cool, I think.
Great.
Yeah.
So what's the feature you are most proud of the game? Difficult question, I'm sorry.
Very difficult questions, yeah.
I think the character animations are quite nice. So we're using skeletal animation with a software that's called Spine. So we get really smooth animations, and we can also interpolate between different animations.
Great.
And although I did the puzzle design, and I really love the story and stuff, but I would say my favorite thing are the backgrounds.
Wow.
Yeah, they are so great. Everything 2D, hand drawn, with so much detail. It's awesome.
Wow. So you can make a game like you had in childhood and play it yourself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that we got the opportunity to make a Larry game.
Great.
It's really good.
So, thanks for the interview, guys. Should we
You're
look
very
at
welcome.
it?
Yeah, let's play.
Yeah, let's start. So you already got the heads up, so we can just jump in and start the game.
Great.
You can ask questions anytime if you want.
Sure.
Hey babe, why'd you turn off the lights? Where are you? Yeah. That feels like we're attached. And how come we're not in bed? Where is it? Hey! She must have split. Where did I end up this time? Man, the quest for love leads you to the strangest places. And most of them are pitch black, damp, and gloomy. Well, first things first, time to put some light on the subject.
Yeah, so that's the very beginning of the game.
Okay.
We actually have a little prologue cutscene, which we not use in the Gamescom version because we don't want to spoil it. So that's gonna be a surprise in the release version. And we got this mystery man, the dark silhouette, who knows who might it be.
That reminds me of a second Maniac Mansion where you had to turn on a flashlight.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. It's kind of our organic tutorial. So because it's really classical point and click. You point and click. You can with the left click you can interact. With right click you can examine. And we thought we won't need a tutorial at the very beginning. So we just have some hotspots and people can just find out how the gameplay works by themselves. It's not that hard.
Wonderful.
And as I already told you, you can show the hotspots, spacebar for example.
Nice.
And then you just click and see what's happening.
What is this?
What's happening?
It's interesting.
This is some kind of high-tech laboratory. Was I abducted?
It's interesting that the walking animation, this quick turn and so on, really feels like an old game.
Yeah.
Because nowadays he would make like animation like he goes around. It doesn't make harsh turns, but he does it. So even the animation feels like an old game. You didn't want to go too modern.
Yeah,
that was intentional. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
It's not something missing, right?
No.
Okay.
No. That's also why we are opting for the 2D look and stuff.
But by the way, the sound effects are still missing. But we can confirm that the final product is gonna have sound effects.
Sure. Okay.
You're allowed to say that.
Plus, I think I noticed from his walking animation.
Experiment on me, and most important, who? I feel like I can see. Daylight. Wow, that must have been one hell of a night. Jeez, Lord. But it's a brand new day. And today the sun is shining for one man and one man only.
Ah, that's typical.
Typical,
yeah. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't change too much of the character, so.
It's still the same formula, basically.
Oh gosh. Interesting.
Yeah, we're in front of Lefty's bar.
Yeah, but then again, maybe not.
But everything I skip a bit if you don't mind, so you can see as many screens as possible.
Sure.
So again, we can now start to pick up things and stuff, but I'm just gonna go through the exposition of the story.
Sure.
And as you can see, there's already a wrecking ball like in there, and here the sign says there's going to be some new condos built here, and Larry still doesn't know that he's in the future, and just let's see what's inside of his car. And as I told you, Lefty keeps his old poster there.
And then this like mega hot guy
from the 80s.
and I was like,
Hey, you don't have to talk about me in the third person, baby.
and then I took a closer look at him and think, hello, those clothes are like so not. Hey! Wait a minute. Oh, some guy keeps talking to me. I'll call you back in a minute.
What's a woman like you doing in a place like Lefty?
Well, the reviews sure didn't get me here. The joint only has like 23 fans on Instagram and a half star on Drive. OMG, mega downer. But it's supposed to be the city's hot insider tip after next. At least it's also totally retro and vintage and style.
Larry has no idea what she's talking about.
It really looks real. The Salon de Les Arts is nothing compared to this. I'm Becky Bevan, but I'm sure you already knew that. You look like one of my typical followers.
Okay.
I wasn't following you, honestly. I'm Larry. Larry laughing.
Hey, my community is streaming. My channel previously makes an unused
And as I said before, it was very important that because Larry is such a stereotype, such a cliche character, we wanted to make all the other characters in the game a cliche stereotype too, and then we chose more modern stereotypes for that.
Followers, Insta
right,
crap.
She's that wannabe influencer girl, right?
Nice.
Are you okay? Or don't you use Instagram? I mean, you're more like the Facebook conspiracy theory generation, aren't you?
Facebook? Oh god.
And what's your score on Tinder? I mean...
In Timber, that's a dating app, so a lot of things she's talking about are actually later in the game.
But then more the whole like friendship or maybe target kind of thing. All I ever find her are like just totally superficial graphics. Great profile picture, but absolutely no character. I get around a lot and it shows. Next year I'm going to the Scorching Dude Festival because everyone's so big in there. I'm supposed to be saying that here. Homebrew, totally analog, like by hand and all. Great for a selfie.
Hey, I can get you one of those giraffe beers.
Craft beer.
Yeah, or one of those.
And if they have any like really spicy versions, then that's what I want. You know, like pumpkin spice or lemon pepper or something.
Oh, yeah.
And Lefty, in order to save his bar, he brews this new craft beer to lure all the young folks, the hipsters in there, but he's not very good at it actually. You later have to do a puzzle chain with a brewing machine of him, and it's just some washing machines clamped together with pipes, messed up pipes and stuff, and he always wonders why people are getting sick by drinking his beer.
Wow.
And that's one of the running gags in the game. So, Warenboy. So we just want to talk to Lefty real quick.
Larry?
He of course remembers Larry.
Yep. Still the one and only.
I haven't seen you in ages. You haven't aged a day. You know, somehow, you look even better than before. Not as chubby. We wondered where you got. You said you retired to an exotic island. Others thought you had entered a monastery. And some said you were dead.
The only exotic thing I ever had was a disease.
Looks like you still suffer from your incurable lack of good taste. Look serious. What happened?
Well, I was on a date with, what was her name? At any rate, we went to her place. Or to a hotel. And then...
So Larry actually has no idea what happened to him. How he got to the future.
Yeah.
But and we keep it a mystery throughout the game. It's not important. We don't want to tell that story. We want to tell what happens to him in the present, and not how he finds out about how he got there, or that he wants to go back in time or something. That's not that important. And also, he doesn't care, because he can be Larry in the future or in our present too. Then he's looking for sex robots or stuff because he thinks he's in the future.
Now, I'm not saying it was alien, but it was
Oh, I don't even want to know what they did to your little orifices.
Let's just say the handcuffs on the bedspread were pretty tight.
I do the same thing. Helps against sleepwalking.
Just between you and me, I don't know if we had sex or not.
Just between you and me, between the two of us, you still look like a virgin.
I have no idea what happened.
Don't worry, Larry. No one knows what's going on anymore. The world's gotten confused.
Yep, something's wrong here. Becky talked about Instacraft, timber, and a bunch of other things I never heard of.
Larry, you do realize you've been gone a long time, don't you?
What do you mean?
You completely dropped off the radar. Like for years.
What are you saying? It's already 1990? Or even 2000? Is the glowing box a remote control for a jetpack? Are we on Mars?
Well, see, it's... Come closer. Real?
Oh god.
Okay, I'm in the 21st century. Many of the people are dead. Everything's changed. I don't know this world. But hey, who cares? I still have my good looks, my unparalleled charisma, and the biggest...
This is a family establishment.
Wow. Okay.
Smile in town.
So in the beginning we got a lot of exposition because we also want to appeal to a new audience, and they first have to learn what the character Larry is about.
Yeah, because they never heard of him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but later we open the game, and we have also more puzzles later in the game than in the middle part of the game. I compare it to Monkey Island 2 quite often. So there you are in Woodtick at the beginning and have this Largo embargo kind of thing, which is kind of linear and an exposition thing. And then you get the ship and you can travel to all the islands and stuff, and then the ending is very linear too then. So
But you don't have an insulting sword fight on a ship.
no, we actually don't have that. So do you mind if I skip a bit so we can watch some more screens? Sure. Okay, alright. So we're gonna get the beer, the craft beer from Lefty, and we're gonna give it, so we got an inventory here. You can combine items in there, and you can drag the items out, give them to persons, or use them on hotspots and stuff. So we're gonna go give Becky the beer. I'm gonna skip that too. And now Larry's the first victim of the Bavarian Brew. He got sick of it, and now we have to get the key, the toilet key. Just watch it real quick. So.
It feels like there really are barbarians rioting like guns.
Oh, that's exactly what you know.
But let me put it this way. I need that damn toilet key right now!
Oh, okay. Here, be my guest.
Gosh. Okay.
So I got to unlock the toilet door, and
the key broke, but at least it broke.
And many adventures have like video cutscenes and for certain story points or something, and we don't have that, but we have also Becky talked about it earlier. We have these Instagram stories, which is like an Instagram story on a smartphone, and there are panels sliding, and they are slightly animated. And there, our first one comes up right now.
Okay.
There's still no sound design for it, but I think you get the idea.
Wow. Okay.
So there are like 20 of those Instagram stories, and you also can re-watch them at any time after you watch them.
Oh gosh. Okay.
What is that? Am I hallucinating? No. There's something in that cloud.
So Larry wants to know what's in there, and we are still somewhat in our organic tutorial. So we now learned how to click and how to speak to persons, and we dropped items on something. And now it's the first time we have to combine something in the inventory to progress. So we got this broomstick, and we got the toilet paper roll, and we combine them in the inventory. We combine them to an improvised toilet brush in order to scratch off the slime. And
very carefully now.
And that's now when the story actually starts. So because
have those glowing boxes in there.
yeah, Larry finds a smartphone in there.
Wow.
And it's not just some smartphone. It's a prototype
Motion alert! Motion alert!
with an Cortana-like or a Siri-like artificial intelligence in it, which is with a hologram. And it's a prototype which belongs to a tech company in the city there in Lost Wages, in New Lost Wages, and they wanted to present this prototype at a keynote later that night. And the whole game takes place one night. And at the end there's the keynote where the tech company wanted to present this very prototype. And somehow they lost it, and it's now in Larry's barroom. Larry finds it. We don't know how it got there yet, but you find out in the game, of course.
Wow.
And so Larry thinks it's a sex robot or something, or a genie or stuff. But I skipped through this real quick so we can see some other things. The AI summoned an Unter, like a cab thing, like an Uber, but an Unter. And the Unter, it brings Larry to the tech company's headquarters, so he can bring back the prototype.
So you are appealing to new and old crowds, actually.
We try, yeah.
With the tutorial and so on.
Yeah. More actually to, I think more actually to a younger audience, but we also have fan service for the older Larry fans.
The center of my universe, the brightest star in the technological sky.
Yeah, you're a I don't need baby, believe me.
So she wants to
Back to the skyline. That's where DJ's office is.
BJ's office in the Skyloft, of course, and it also has a fountain on top. So we didn't change much of the Larry formula. It's still about dirty jokes and bad puns.
Wow.
Just get in there real quick, and that's a prune store. So they are the Brainiacs in the Brainiac barn. They keep nagging on Larry during the whole game, and they are not helpful at all and stuff. And we have to show them the prototype. We're gonna skip that too. But they see that it's a prototype, and to give Larry an access card for the elevator, which can access the Skyloft one time only, to bring back the prototype to BJ.
Nice.
This is a catastrophe. How could this happen?
We're still investigating, but we received the distress signal and the prototype is on its way here.
That is Faith, the assistant of
I want to know
BJ.
who's responsible. I'll fire them. I'll sue them for damages.
BJ,
And if it ever happens again, I'm going to close this whole place down.
BJ,
What?
take it easy. The pressure cut is on its way here. We have everything ready for the presentation. All that's left is to clarify the final technical details. We're on track.
Ah, you're right. I should focus on that.
BJ likes modern art too.
Do you have a prototype?
I give you a quick summary. So the one story point is the keynote, where everything builds up to at the end of the game. And the other thing is Larry falls in love with BJ's assistant Faith, but she has no interest in Larry at all.
Of course.
And she tells him get rich, more or less. But Larry keeps nagging her about a date, and she says, okay. If you can get 90 points in the Timber dating app, she is going to go out with Larry. And although it's quite impossible to get those 90 points, Larry sees it as challenge accepted.
Great.
And then he actually goes there, gets the smartphone, gets the Timber app, and then he can date those 7 dateable characters in the game, which are then like quest characters. And of course, he gets in trouble with all the stuff and stuff like that. Any more questions?
No, you showed us all. It's very impressive. I'm really looking forward to this final result. What are the platforms you are supposed or planning to support?
It's going to be the initial release is going to be PC, and we are only doing a Mac version and a Windows version, so there's no Linux version. And we're planning on doing a PS4 version and a Switch version actually.
Wow.
But it's not yet confirmed. So we can confirm if it's coming at all, and we can confirm especially when we are able to do a console version.
Okay.
But we are looking into it,
Well, and you are going to release it in November, you said?
Yeah, November 7th. And there's also going to be a retail edition, so a box edition for the stores, and there's going to be a limited edition. But I can't say anything what's the content of that.
Thanks a lot for the interview and the presentation. It was great.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Nice.
And retro gaming was very huge and but playable and fun in the end. It was not this, we have to be retro now because it's just a hype. It was very peaceful, I think.
It was amazing because at first I asked them, okay, this is probably a bug because it's a demo, it's probably unfinished. No, this is actually how it's supposed to look like. I'm like, okay, that was totally amazing.
I wish that they would do that with the Monkey Island series because they went to 3D with them, and the last two were like 3D, games, and it just didn't translate as well.
I know. Oh, he got the.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it.
It's this Pizza Connection card game. Actually, we could do a competition, or how do you say a Gewinnspiel? What's it in English?
A prize giving.
A prize giving. I could spend this one. You got these handkerchiefs with Larry on it. Very nice. And hold on. Very funny. There were Larry love pills. Yeah. It was fun being there.
Amazing.
And
interesting thing is the developing team is called Crazy Bunch.
Yeah, and they are. They are.
So we spoke to Heiner and his brother, and they are in 30, and so you would think, okay, they are too young to know anything about this series, but actually in the first 5 minutes of the interview, we got all into the history of the fight between Sierra and Lucasfilm Games, LucasArts, and that was pretty much fun. So they are not only developing the game because they have to, they are really into the material, into the thing, into the genre of Sierra games. So they are actually making their child dream coming true in a way. And that is something that I've noticed a lot this year at the business area. Those people who talked to us, they were really very enthusiastic about it. And there are more and more publishers concentrating on retro and old brands, That's really, really amazing. And if you're matching Hypersports, it's 34 years now since the first release of the game, and who would think that over 30 years later you would get a successor of the game? It's really amazing. And they were very enthusiastic. You could feel it, And also, what else?
Hi, I'm Nico. I'm the game designer and lead programmer of High Rises, the first project of Solar Powered Games, a company that I run with my father. My father, Marcus, he's an architect and he does all the business development stuff of our company as well as the level design. Because High Rises is an urban survival RPG and the setting is in a large city with many skyscrapers, and those skyscrapers are designed by him. In High Rises, we have the classical post-apocalyptical zombie survival setting.
Wow.
With a bit of a twist. In our story, humanity was struck by a disease that caused people to go to bed in the evening and never to wake up in the morning. They just kept on sleeping, and no matter what the doctors and the scientists tried, they couldn't get them awake. And this caused them to sleep and stay in their dreams forever. And in this state, they changed and mutated and became the zombie-like dreamers that are the main antagonists in our game. In High Rises, you control 4 survivors of this calamity, which were unaffected by the disease because for various reasons each of them was suffering from insomnia and they could not fall into deep sleep and get into dream state, so that the mutation could not start. Now those 4 survivors are trapped on the rooftop of a skyscraper in a large city and they need a means to escape. The problem is all of the lower floors of the skyscraper and all of the streets are populated by the mysterious dreamers, and they have no way of getting down to the street. Their only way of escape is an old wrecked helicopter that is on the rooftop. And if they can patch it up and fix it, they will not be able to fly like 4 kilometers, but they might be able to just jury rig it sufficiently so that you can make a small leap onto the rooftop of the next building. And so from building to building, they try to get their way out of the city.
Wow, what a crazy story in a way. Very creative.
Now here, I'm starting the demo now. And as you can see, we have the helicopter on the rooftop, and we start with the first of the 4 characters. In the game, normally you control all 4 characters at once, but we started in the tutorial introduction with just one, so not to overwhelm the player. This is Ike. He is a former army pilot and mechanic, so he is very well equipped for repairing the helicopter. And let's inspect it. What's wrong with it? There's many things are wrong with it, but just to get it into the air, the first thing we need to do is to repair the rudders. And we see that we need electrical engine and wire and some cogs for that. And to get that, now the second character, Jess, is introduced. And everything in High Rises that looks like it does not belong to the main building structure is interactive. You can either pick it up or disassemble it and use the ingredients, the parts for crafting. So this antenna relay we have here, we just switch the power off so that we can safely disassemble it and start disassembly.
This looks like an old VGA game from DOS times.
Yeah, it does. We went for this old school pixel style, and it's just upscaled for the larger screen size. But that way we can make the art assets pretty efficiently, and we think it still look good. They have a charm that invokes the nostalgic feelings of the when we like had the. Well, my time was not the Amiga era, it was a bit later, it was like more the 8-bit and 16-bit consoles, but still it was a great era for pixel art, and we want to invoke that feeling without the technical limitations and restrictions of that era. So we don't do the pure orthodox philosophy of pixel art with palette limitations. We also have lighting effects and stuff that could not be done at the time, but still we embrace the pixel art textures and sprites. So
that shading you mentioned sounds a bit like Thimbleweed Park, Ron Gilbert, because he also used a shading technique. That sounds a bit similar.
If we finish this tutorial phase, we will see how the daytime progression, the daytime progresses, and then the light will change, because in the afternoon and the evening the light will get more soft and yellowish, and then in the night it gets dark. So here we have third character and just brought some of the gears we needed. We also have we got something from disassembling this engine, and in this rack here we also have some wire, and from disassembling the antenna we got even more wire. So with that, if we give all that to Ike, he should be sufficiently equipped to repair the helicopter. And yes, the rudder repairs can start. So we can also disassemble other things like this warning brand, but it simply yields some wood and simple resources. So now we have unlocked the scrolling. We can investigate what can be found in the skyscraper, and as you can see, on every floor there's many things to explore and to disassemble. And if we get on the lowest floor, we even find the dreamers already there. During the day they are more docile and they won't attack, but as soon as the sun sets, they will start climbing up through the skyscraper and try to engage us. So the goal of the dreamers, unlike a regular zombie in your zombie flick, is not to kill you or eat you, but rather to beat you unconscious. Because once the players are unconscious, they are in the sleep mode that the mutation requires. So they would start to also get changed into dreamers. As long as only one or two or even three of you guys are unconscious, you still have a chance to finish it, because you can revive them and either carry them to safety or just get them back up on their feet. But as soon as all four of your players are down, the game is over.
Is there any way to fight dreamers?
Yes. Yes, you need you find some weaponry, but you also can craft all kind of weaponry to engage them. But there are also non-combat ways to deal with them. Like, as I said, they are light averse, and you can build ultraviolet flashlights to scare them off, or you can build certain things that lure them to a certain location while you investigate another one and try to get the equipment back up where you need it.
So I can go like the stealth route or the loud way and just...
Exactly.
Wow.
Here is a crafting station where you can craft all kinds of tools or equipment, like melee weapons or ranged weapons, explosives, defensives, traps, turrets, parts, machinery like this engine that you can use for the helicopter, and even upgrades for the workbench itself, with the table, so you can do all kind of woodworks more efficiently. So each player has his own unique skill tree that you can put point into. Ike has this mechanic part, because he was a mechanic, which you can use to unlock new recipes and craft more machinery. You can invest your energy into the pilot aspect of the game, so that you can upgrade the helicopter more efficiently and use it to transport goods that you've crafted or found onto the next building.
That leads me to the question, what if one player is in the dreaming state and it's the one that has a skill that you need to progress in the game?
You need to get him out of the dreaming state. So the dreaming state is nothing that they safely stay for several days. It's just like, oh god, he got knocked over. You should get him up as soon as possible, because you need his skills and his powers.
So in this time I can't access his inventory. Can I just go there and grab the stuff in his inventory?
Yeah, and as soon as one becomes unconscious, all his equipment gets dropped, so that you can pick it up, because it would be bad if it was stuck in his inventory. Yeah, that's basically it. You need to find food to keep your guys well fed and healthy. Therefore, you can either find it, like in a refrigerator or in supply shack, but you can also water and fertilize plants and grow your food. You can even go do stuff like go hunting. Wexel. Okay. That's about Gentleman Virus. It will be out on Steam in 2019, second quarter. It's for PC and Mac. In the beginning, it will be single player only. Later, we think about if we can maybe do some couch co-op mode, which would be great. Or the control scheme also calls for tablet port. But in the beginning, we will focus on releasing it safely on as a single player game.
Very nice, very interesting. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you, guys.
Yes, we have been at our friends at THQ Nordic. THQ Nordic was actually working on a successor of Flat Out 2, which is a really brutal stunt-focused action racing game, and they made a successor to it, Wreckfest. And people were so amazed about this that the comments on the video were like, they got this perfect. People who watched the interview said it's a very perfect game to the tone, perfect in any sense. And I have to say it's making a lot of fun. It reminds me a bit of Destruction Derby from Psygnosis from the PlayStation, so that was 95. And so it was a lot of fun.
Did we have any review of this one?
No, not yet.
Shotgun.
Yeah, Frogs and Shotgun, 2 games and a 4-player adapter in 1 cartridge for the 64. Really sexy. And I got it from the programmer. It's a nice box also.
Who is the programmer for that?
It's Christian. Christian is from Dr. Wuro.
Oh yeah.
And he was also there at Gamescom and Christian Gleinser, yeah. And he also got me a copy of this one. It's his new game, Shadow Switcher, on disc, but I don't know if I can load discs. Yet I don't have popped in my drive, so it's 4-player games actually, and I didn't play it, but I think this looked very funny at all. I don't know if we could play this one also over network. I don't know.
Which one?
It's legal. This is just 4 players playing games on the C64 network. I don't know if you had this once. I saw you on Twitch.
Oh yeah, we tried to do that once, and I don't think it didn't really work that well.
Okay.
We ended up just sort of we ended up having Joerg load the game and do everything and mess everybody else up because he was pushing the wrong buttons.
Okay.
But in the end, we have to interview this one too.
Yeah, next year. I know. Yeah. Christian Kleinsner.
Facebook has been suggesting him to me for like a month, and I had no idea who he was.
He does all this multiplayer games.
Yeah, and Dr. Wuro just followed me on Twitter.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Really, how do I say? He's really a nice guy to talk to. Has really patience and is explaining a lot of things, and it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
So where did I stop before the doorbell rang?
I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought.
We talked about a little bit of Larry and Ben.
Today we are talking to
Michael
and Chris. And you are going to present us your game. What it's called, the game?
Of Ships and Scoundrels.
Okay. So show us a bit of the game and what it's about.
Yeah. The game is basically set in a Caribbean setting. It has a dynamic water and weather system, dynamic day-night cycle, and it's a mixture of turn-based strategy and action gameplay. So you can use action points, so we call them, and with those points you can do things like move your ship, and things like moving or shooting happen in real time. You see, this is our fleet.
These are all ships of the fleet, and in this view we only see our second player. We are showing the hot seat mode. We will offer online multiplayer and offline multiplayer as well as a single player campaign, and this is a hot seat mode. Later we will also include an AI.
So it's like sea fighting. So it's like a strategic game, real time.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Kind of. We are shooting and moving in real time, but it's turn-based. So we can move and fight, but when we have finished and no action points are left, then the next player is turn.
So by every round I get new action points to spend?
Yes. And these action points depend on how many harbors do I have, how many ships do I have, and so on.
Okay. A few years ago, PC Games actually wrote that genre is dead. So what did you make? What did you think about when you decided to actually do this kind of game that even the media says the genre is dead?
As mentioned, it was a couple of years before, and today you see games like Ships and Scoundrels or Assassin's Creed Black Flag or Skull and Bones, I think that's the name. And I think the genre is coming back. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. We are the green player for now, so I would suggest to show a bit what happens when we select our ships, because we have a special mechanic for it. When we shoot, we have those lines that indicate how good we are aiming for that. So if it's green, we make the most damage. And if it's red, we make the least damage. And as you can see, all these cannons have a specific range when they hit in a small area, and a specific range when they hit in a broader area. That's because they are mid-range cannons. So in short range or long range, they are not accurate. And it's possible to equip ships with different kind of cannons. It's completely free how you configure this ship. It's possible to have on one side each cannon type if you want to, if you think that's a good idea. But yeah, for now we are having this ship, and I would suggest we spend an action point and move a bit around.
Of course, yeah. Have some fun on the sea.
So where can I see how many action points are actually got?
The action points are in the red ribbon. Yeah, and we can move a specific range. We have a lot of range for now for presentation purposes, but yeah, you see that in the yellow bar on the bottom left.
Wow. Okay.
All right. We not only have sea fights. We also have strategy mode in building harbors and buildings. And yeah, let's move to the harbor and click on the icon. And you can see the harbor is built. The problem is when this ship moves away, the harbor won't be built then. So it takes one round, not real time, but a complete round. So it's possible that, for example, your enemy gets near this ship and attacks it, so it sinks. Then the harbor also won't be built. So at least one ship of your fleet must stay near the harbor. Yeah, let's move with another ship and show a bit fighting scenes.
So you are relying on other games in that genre, and you are doing similar things. You're not reinventing the wheel in a way.
I think we have a few inspirations, of course, yeah.
Okay.
But we are doing new things. For example, it's completely procedurally generated. So every island you see is unique. Yeah? Also, we are having different resources on each island. So trading is also a really important thing. And yeah, we also have experience points for each ship. So it really hurts when you lose a ship, because with every level you can customize it a bit. For example, you can make it better hull, or increase the shooting range or something like that.
If a ship takes damage, is there a way to repair it?
Yes, we will see that later.
Okay.
Yeah, as you can see, the ship made a bit damage here, and on the left side you see where the ship has taken the damage. We have 4 hit zones on each ship, front, back, left and right, and if one side is completely red, so health on 0, it will sink. Yeah, let's show a bit revenge.
Oh, action! Finally. And now it's raining actually. Okay.
Yeah, we have a dynamic weather system, and the ocean is completely 3D. So the waves are also getting bigger and bigger, and it's harder to move and harder to shoot.
Like my cannons get more inaccurate with the
Yes.
weather's bad.
Yes.
Wow. By the way, it looks really awesome.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, let's have a look at our harbor. Then we can show you where you can repair your ships. Because with a harbor, you also unlock those 3 slots next to the harbor. So you have a one harbor building that gives you 100 gold per round for each level of the harbor. So you can level your buildings up. And we have different types of buildings. For example, if you have a really rare resource on that island, it's probably good to have a warehouse on it, so you can increase your incomes then on the island. You can also build a gunsmith, which is necessary to equip your ships with new cannons, and how many cannons you can equip is dependent on the level of the gunsmith. Yeah, then we have the cannon tower, because every harbor is without any protection. So enemies can easily attack the harbor. Excuse me.
No problem.
Attack the harbor. So you can defend your harbor, and we have the shipyard. The shipyard is for repairing ships and building new ships.
So when are you going to release it, on what platforms?
Second quarter in 2019. First on PC and Mac. Other platforms, not for now, but our publisher decides on it, depending on how good the game performs.
Wow, wonderful. Looks very impressive.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
interesting.
We have also a strong exploration part.
Now it's getting interesting.
Yeah. you can see sea monsters, that's just one of it. You have a lot of monsters then.
All those locations random?
Wow,
Simon,
nice.
All the sea monster locations random?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
See, I think we're still on live.
Breakfast. We were at breakfast.
Breakfast.
Yeah. So breakfast felt a bit like Destruction Derby on the PlayStation. So yeah. So they are currently releasing the console versions, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and so people are very excited about that. Today we are talking to
Roger Jostwick from THQ Nordic.
And you are the producer of Wreckfest?
That's correct.
Right. So, and you already released the game on PC?
Yes, about 8 weeks ago.
Okay. And now you're making the console version?
Yes, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Working with full Steam. Right.
Okay. No Switch?
Maybe later. I cannot promise anything. We are looking into it, but first we're doing PS4 and Xbox, and then we will see.
Okay, that's a common answer between publishers.
Yeah, well, I would like to have one ready.
Okay.
Just to be fair.
Okay. So let's look a bit into the gameplay. It's actually a successor of Flatout 2, I read.
Yes, you can phrase it like this. This is from the original developers of Flatout 1 and Flatout 2 and Flatout Ultimate Carnage, which is like the developers making racing games since 20 years, and you can clearly see this as a very good game.
Okay,
so
great.
I will just go right into the gameplay, I think.
Oh, sure.
This will be the most action part.
Okay.
So I choose a random track.
Okay, so tell us a bit, did you change something in the way of converting it to consoles, or is it the PC game one-to-one?
It is, as far as possible, it's the PC game one-to-one. We are optimizing heavily for consoles right now. This is what we're doing. It could be that we don't have 24 cars as on PC, that we maybe have just 20 or something like that. But this is really determine the effectiveness of the optimizations dictate that.
Okay.
So we want, of course, to have the same amount of cars, but we don't know if we can reach it at this point.
Okay.
The goal is to have something around 20. Okay.
And now we are starting a race here.
I'm just starting
on a PlayStation. Yeah.
Yes. And no, this is actually on PC. We have a PlayStation built here, but the loading times are not optimized.
The PC is under there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The loading times are at the moment not optimized, and this is for the presentation. It doesn't work. It's too slow. Of course, in the final game, the loading times will be fine. No worries. But right now, this is not. It's not complete.
Okay. So tell us a bit about what is new compared to Flatout 2, because you are an avid gamer of Flatout 2 yourself.
Yes.
So what did you put in as a producer that you always wanted to have as a gamer's perspective?
Well, first of all, the amount of cars is much higher. In Flatout we had 8 cars total. Here we have 24 or 20 on each own consoles. And this, of course, gives a lot of more possibilities, what happens on the tracks, the density of action. And also back then it wasn't, the technical limits were much stronger because the computing power was much slower. So you could not have that many dynamic objects on the track, that amount of fidelity when you hit some other cars.
Okay.
You can see how the map will bends, how the parts fall off. This was all also in Flatout, but not with this fidelity.
Okay.
So this is basically the new interpretation of an original Flatout, the first one.
Okay. And what's the number one feature besides more cars that you like the most compared to the predecessor?
That's a good question. I
Thank you.
Mostly the multiplayer part, but this is because back then multiplayer was a LAN party, which where you had to carry the PCs to your friends, which you didn't do all day. And here you have the multiplayer. You just go online, have a blast on whatever game mode you want. I think on Flatout we didn't have the Destruction Derby arenas. And this is what I enjoy here
okay.
But my memory could trick me here. Maybe Flatout had Destruction arenas, I'm not sure.
I don't remember that, so I guess you're right here, yes.
Yes, I think it was Destruction Derby which had it, but not Flatout.
That was Destruction Derby, yeah.
Yes.
From Psygnosis, also a very good game.
Yes.
But that's another publisher. So we can see you are really very deep in the topic. So how did it actually happen? You were asked to produce this game. You bought the license as THQ Nordic and then...
No, in this case it went very different to a regular game, because this game was on early access for a very long time.
On Steam?
On Steam.
Okay.
And it was independently from the developer itself. It was, I mean, right now it was exactly 4 years in early access. When we as THQ Nordic came on board, it was about 2 years in early access, and we noticed the developer struggles. They struggle with making progress in the game. They were patching forth and back, and we were saying, hey, this game is so good. The core of the game is so good, but a lot of things were missing. So we were sitting together, was saying, hey, come on, we have a good vision. We know you have a bit of troublesome development, and maybe we can make this to a complete game together. And this is actually what happened. So we went to Finland, had a few meetings, and basically agreed, hey, this could be a great cooperation, and yeah.
So the development group is actually Finnish?
Yes, Finland, Helsinki.
Okay.
So, yes. And
And you are really going towards alternative ways of financing and promoting. For example, the Equinox you did over Kickstarter, now you did Steam Early Access.
Yes, in this case the developer did Steam Early Access, and we basically became a partner of him during the Early Access phase.
So you just continued?
Yes, we helped him because they were like, you know, the money was a bit tight back then for the developer. So we jumped on board and helped him to add much more cars, add much more environments, the stuff that costs money in games, and basically make a complete game out of a tech demo. Because back then they just had a tech demo, if you want to say so. And,
so how does it feel for you to make a successor of a PC retro hyped game?
It's the most awesome thing ever. I mean, for me personally, I was always a big Destruction Derby and Flat Out fan, and when I was a kid back then, with 14, 15, 16, I was always thinking, when I'm grown up, I want to do this, and I finally got the chance, and it was totally by accident. I was telling my colleagues, this game is so awesome, we should have a look. Maybe you could publish it, and it happened, and it worked out, and I got the producer, and I'm super happy. So, yes.
So you are living a child's dream now?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, Equinox is doing that a lot. THQ Nordic is doing that a lot with games, actually. Producing successors of old PC titles.
Yes, this is part of the company strategy.
Seriously, yeah, we all wondered about that.
We acquired quite a few old IPs from not just from THQ, but also from other publishers. And we are basically working on looking at the IPs and see if it makes sense to revive them, because players have very good memories of the IPs, but it's also a very, very big challenge to make a game that lives up to modern standards, because the way you remember the game, and if you really look at the game, you're sometimes shocked how bad it is, the user interface, and back then if it's from the 90s, it was a different world than it is now. So, yeah.
And you as a producer, was there anything you wanted to put in but couldn't, or is this question not allowed because it's too negative?
I mean, this is always, as a producer, you must convince the people. I can't force them to do something, but if they don't want to do it, it will not be good in the end. So I want that the developer also wants it. And this is sometimes longer discussion about features, why they are this way or why they're in another way. And then you basically set the target, what to reach, and everyone marches toward the target. This is usually what works the best. So.
You mentioned more cars and more details when the cars are crashing and so on. What engine are you actually using?
It's all on tech from Buckley itself. Basically the entire game is all own written code.
Okay.
So, and it's a small team, it's less than 20 people.
Oh.
So if you compare to Forza or Gran Turismo, a few hundred people, and they're just 18, 90 people.
That sounds like indies, some kind
of. Yes. They were indies until we jumped on board as a publisher. So they're still indie. We didn't buy the company. We just say, okay, let's make this game together.
Okay. And you said some weeks ago there was a PC release. Are you happy with the result? Are you working on a Breakfast 2 behind the shadows already?
No, not right now. We are at the moment we are working on additional content. We already released a patch with one free track. There will be more content coming. I cannot go into details, but there will be more for sure. So we will take care of the game until the console version is out and all platforms are on the same level. And then maybe we will look at new game modes or whatever. I cannot promise anything, but we listen very carefully toward the community requests. If we see a lot of requests for a certain thing, then we will look very closely how we can make it happen.
So this won't be the last revival of an old retro PC IP.
I'm pretty sure it will not be. Yes.
Great. So when can people expect this on the consoles? Is there any estimated final release?
We are targeting end of November this year, but I'm saying we're targeting. So there is a risk, and we really want to make it happen. We really want to launch it, but we also want to achieve a certain amount of quality, and we have to see if it works. We're quite optimistic, but that's why we said targeting. It's not the official release date.
Is that a problem on so many different platforms, or is it all basically the same as they're all PC-based consoles?
No, it's you need a lot of platform-specific stuff, especially if you go multiplayer. There's a lot of specific stuff that needs to be taken care of, and also it's a very small team, as I said already. So you have 18 people, you have like 5 coders, and 3 of them network coders, and they're first they work on PlayStation, then they work on Xbox, and then you have to fix the bugs and make the movements more smooth and multiplayer and whatnot, improve. And shipping many different platforms at the same time is always a big challenge for it, because it's so much work in one very short amount of time.
Now we spoke about Steam greenlighting a lot. How about a physical release? Because me as a collector, I like physical releases.
We will have one. It will be at the same time as the consoles come out.
Also for the PC?
Yes, we will do a box version, but we said it makes sense to start this together with the consoles and not bring it out somewhere in between.
Okay.
So, yes.
You know the movement that happened last year, that many publishers just released a casing and you had no disc inside.
That's the key. No, we will put a disc inside, for sure. That's for sure. I mean, since it still has the early access spirit, so there will be still a lot of updates. So
okay.
Of course, if you insert the disc, there could be an update.
But not like that Batman game like 3 years ago that had 50 gigabyte first day patch or something. That was really heavy on my internet connection.
Yeah. I mean, luckily this game has smaller updates. It really depends on the game engine they use, especially Unreal Engine 4 can have these very large updates.
Can you talk about the kind of content you want to add, or is it a secret?
It's not confirmed yet, so it will certainly be new kind of tracks and new cars. But what type of cars and what type of tracks I cannot tell you. We have a lot of great ideas, and we're working already on a lot of stuff, but I do not know when we can launch the stuff.
Perfect. And will there be a LAN mode in it, like an old LAN party?
There's already a LAN mode in it.
Okay. Also for the console versions?
No.
Okay.
It's too risky. Simple too risky. Maybe we add it later, but I cannot promise that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for my time. For your time. That was what I wanted to know.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Breakfast, yeah.
Well, actually, we didn't see so much games compared to last year's, but this year it was more retro-like. What else can we say about the business area? Yeah, interesting thing is, the last years you just had a lot of drinks, like certain things of soda and so on. And this year they did something new. They had food.
Oh, I thought you were saying last year, like, you just got really drunk, and I was like, damn, I want to go to Gamescom now.
No, not me. Other people, not me. So they had a lot of food, and GHQ Nordic was really nice because they are a Swedish and Austrian mixed company. Well, they had like Swedish and Austrian food, and Martin enjoyed it a lot, especially.
Isn't Swedish food like that, like canned, like fermented fish?
No, it's not that canned fish. No. we ate a lot of Austrian food actually. With this freshly bread and freshly, what's it called, Schinken? I don't know. It's ham. Oh, that was really nice. And there was a waiter going around and asking every 5 minutes, "Do you need anything else?" It was very, this was very nice at Gamescom this year, actually. Also at the booth of the EA, actually. We had a lot of food there.
Nice.
Yeah. What else, Jörg?
Well, what else? I don't know. Yeah, we can say that this year there were a lot of interesting booths for the retro themed thing around, and at the corners of Gamescom actually, like for example Hungarian Pixels I found quite interesting, because those mid-90s aftermarket games, they are really crazy expensive, like thousands of euros on eBay some people want, like Boom, for example, which is like a 3D Doom clone or something.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
other games, from Hungary, and also Hungary, yeah, Hungarian Pixels. They call
but they're not
themselves.
from Hungary. They're from Hungary.
Oh, sorry. Okay, how did you say it then? Hungary Pixels?
No. Hungarian is the correct for people from Hungary.
Oh no, okay.
Because that would make you like from like Germania.
Okay, I see. And if you are hungry, that doesn't mean you are Hungarian.
No.
Necessarily. Okay.
Right.
But that doesn't mean Hungarians can't be hungry.
Right, exactly.
And better hungry than hangry,
Yeah.
That is true.
Better than Turkey. Which is another issue altogether.
This is getting weird now. So.
Yeah.
But if you're from Turkey, you're Turkish. You're not Turkarian.
Turkarian.
But it could happen that people want to bite on you.
Yes.
That could be all the time.
Mr. Bean also had
Well,
turkey.
but that would make you a turkey, and you don't necessarily need to be from Turkey to be a turkey.
Okay.
Huh?
Turkish turkeys.
Turkish turkeys.
Yeah.
And hungry Hungarians. Okay. So.
And at Endstream, we also had Endstream. Maybe Martin, you tell about that, because you were totally amazed about that. They themselves call them a Netflix of retro games.
Yeah. And actually, we were at the retro area at Gamescom, and we were going around and looking around what's new, and there was a real. How to say? It's a little booth, and not that actually colorful or anything. And we had some terminals there with a screen and some controllers, and you could pick from a big list of actually games, retro games. Not only C64, also I don't know what it was. It was also Amiga games, I think. Mm-hmm. And actually, the games weren't downloaded; they were streamed, as I remember. And in the end, we tried IK Plus, or was it International Karate in the end? And you had some Xbox controllers and played, and the list actually looks like Netflix. And I thought this is a quite neat idea, and I asked the developer if it is also possible for new game developers to add the games to this portal in the end. And they said, yeah, this is planned. But after we played the games, I had this issue that I could hardly play the games because there was a real lag, latency.
Right.
With the controller, and I asked them if this is normal, and they said no, it's just the network of the fair of the Gamescom, and they had some issues there. But as we now, like Jörg and I spoke now 2 days ago, this is just a problem they have. So in the end, I think the idea is brilliant to have all these games you want to play on your modern hardware just sitting on your in your what's it called? Yeah, please help me. You're sitting in front of TV and have your
living room.
Living room, yeah, and you play all these games without having all this stuff with hardware, action, and so on. But in the end, it's gaming, and I have to say I want to play games without any latency.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I think they said they want to talk to us, and then we will see if they will do any.
Yeah, I feel like I saw something similar to this not that long ago, maybe in the early 2000s. Like there were websites that were starting to have online games like that, like classic games that had been converted to, maybe it was Flash at the time, you know. But I don't think those didn't really take off. They kind of they were there, and then they stalled, and it was never like a big thing that gains traction. But this could, if there is, you know, again, like you said, low latency, and the ability to use a controller, because with the ones that I had seen in the past, you're basically limited to keyboard controls, or, you know, if you map a USB controller to keyboard stuff, then you could use that too. But who wants to do that?
Anybody remembers the sticks back from the day that you could put on the cursor keys?
Yeah.
And they were like, now you can finally play all your keyboard games with a real joystick.
Yep.
It felt like crap, but hey.
Well, there was this thing on the Mac called, it was USB Overdrive, I think it was called, which was, it was a control panel on classic Mac OS. It might even still be on Mac OS 10, but it'll let you take because so many games for Mac map to the keys, you know, because until the last, you know, 5-10 years or so, Mac wasn't really a gaming platform, and there wasn't like universal support for stuff. So if you wanted to use a controller, you'd have either like, you know, special controller for Mac, you'd have your generic USB that half the time didn't work right because the games weren't made for them. So this thing, USB Overdrive, would let you map out the different buttons to keys on the keyboard.
But Mac was very hyped on QuickTime games like Myst.
Oh, Myst, yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. And that's interesting because it received so bad reviews back in '93 by the press worldwide, saying what this boring, crappy game.
It was so boring. The
atmosphere, I played it '95 and I loved it because of the atmosphere. I have to.
When I started getting into Macs, which was 2000-ish or so, I had the classic Mac OS, the 68040 and all that stuff. And I did get a copy of Myst, and it was brutally. There were good games for early Mac, like we didn't have like Doom and all that stuff. That came later on, but we did have our own called Marathon, which was awesome. Like, it's a first-person shooter, you know, and it's an amazing game. If there is a PC port now, I recommend giving it a shot because it kicks ass.
Because it's a first-person shooter, you should give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really into first-person shooters, but I liked Marathon. And it was stuff like Escape Velocity, things like that. And so Myst was really kind of touted as one of these great Mac-centric games. And I got it, and it was like, wow, this is just total garbage.
Okay. Well, I'm the totally opposite opinion. I loved it. I loved the atmosphere.
Really?
I loved the riddles. I really loved it.
I just felt it was like sort of like you were watching a movie, just point and click. You're not really doing anything, you know.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it is interactive, but in a different way. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All the cutscenes with the very interesting story back in the day. Maybe this was just me, but it wasn't just me because a few years later, it got quite hyped as one of the best point-and-click adventures of that time.
Yeah, maybe at the time it was a little bit different. At the time, full motion video, I never liked that. I never liked cutscenes. I still don't like cutscenes in games. So maybe
I love cutscenes. I love cutscenes.
To me, it's just kind of like, if I wanted to watch a movie, I'd watch a movie. I don't need to watch it as I'm playing a game.
I love cutscenes, and that is why I loved Command & Conquer so much, because they had real actors, a real story. And every time I finished a mission, I was like, okay, now I can see the next cutscene. Woo! So yeah.
Well, plus I also like to dump myself into the game. Like, if it's a role-playing game, I kind of try to superimpose myself into that. So if it's a role-playing game and suddenly it's a cutscene and there's Mark Hamill, and it's like, that's not me. It kind of takes away from it a little bit. It's like, I wouldn't say that. Whereas if it's just a straightforward game, I can make whatever dialogue I want in my brain.
Okay. I see. But since I'm not an RPG player, actually, but interesting to the topic that we actually mentioned now, Command and Conquer and cutscenes. EA announced that they are really thinking about continuing Command and Conquer series after the last title was in 2008. So after 10 years, they will really do a PC release again, and not just mobile or online. Win-to-play games. No, pay-to-win.
Pay-to-play. Pay-to-win.
Pay-to-win, it's called. And that is what EA was famous for in the last years. And they want to make a real PC game again. Real-time strategy. The second day at Gamescom, actually, Ubisoft announced they will reboot the Settlers, actually.
Right.
And
we've talked about that in a previous podcast as well, which is interesting.
Exactly.
That's an Amiga. That was an Amiga only title, was it Amiga only?
No, it was also released on a PC, and on the PC it was the first game to support two mouse.
That's right.
At the same time, because you could play against each other on cooperation with having two mice attached. And that was quite a big thing back in the days, because it was also a COM port, or you needed a COM port and an adapter, because the second COM port was having the same dimension as the LTP port on many PCs. So you needed a COM port adapter for the wide COM port standard.
That'd be a pain in the ass just for playing that.
I know. And I know this so well because back in the day, I had an analog modem, and it was for COM port. And since my mouse was on the COM port already, I had to go with a second COM port, which was the same form factor like the LTP port. So the modem had two connectors on it, just in case. Was an old Acer 56K bits modem.
I had, my old classic Mac. A lot of the games used the keyboards on that. And for two-player games, what they would do is one player gets the numeric keypad, and the other player gets like the ASDF, directional keys. But that's a pain in the ass when you're trying to play this game, because then you and your friend have to. Mac keyboards aren't that big to begin with, so you're like, basically like sharing this little one section there trying to type the thing. So what I figured out you could do.
Fun?
What's that?
Didn't make that more fun?
No, it did not. So what I ended up doing was I discovered that those older Macs used Apple Desktop Bus, which is the same plug as S-Video, weirdly enough. But you can daisy chain devices. So I would daisy chain a keyboard into my keyboard so that they could have a keyboard and I could have a keyboard, which worked really well for that, but also meant that if they were winning, I could just go over and hit my own numeric keypad and mess them up.
I know, yeah. Didn't we all do that on the Commodore 64, hitting the space bar to confuse the controls of player one?
Or entering in the wrong numbers when Sen had guesses? Or the wrong letters?
Yeah, well, that was another thing. with my floppy penis fingers, yeah.
Yes.
I remember that one well.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess there was not really much else that we could say from a press point of view.
No, but how was it in? It's kind of ugly. How was it in general? Like, you were there for the better part of a week, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was there on with him and the other guys on Monday, and then we built up in the afternoon.
So how did our booth do? How many guests did we get? What was the ambiance like around our own little section there? Because we had the 64. We had how many C64 set up?
Two
of them set up. We also had the Amiga version set up.
Yep.
So that people could check that out. And I also saw something else. Was there like a drawing contest or something happening where people were like doing
Martin
something
can say about it.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What kind of contest?
I don't know. I saw people like creating like artwork or something on one of the machines that were at
So,
at the booth.
no, I think people got excited very much to have a real hardware Amiga again under their fingers, and there were a lot of people, especially from Italy, in the end, which exited our Scene World magazine and saw the Amiga OS and thought, hey, okay, let's look around what the machine has got, and I have installed one version of what's it called, Personal Paint. And they just started to use the Amiga again for some graphic issues, and it was nice because there were a lot of talented young people which created graphics on the machine for the first time. Actually, these were all people and kids that used Photoshop. I asked them, and they were Photoshop experienced, but had a lot of fun using this old machine to create graphics on it.
You actually saved the pictures. You should send me.
Saved the pictures, yeah.
You should send me. You should send me the pictures in a way that I can work with them on the PC, and then I will put them in the video so people can actually see what people were drawing.
Yeah, a good idea. I will do that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So, I also heard the story of two Indians being so joyful to work on the Amiga again. Because many people don't know that, but Amiga was pretty big in India for teleprompting at TV stations.
I think it was like that everywhere. It was big in the U.S. That was pretty much one of the main things it was used for in the U.S. was teleprompting and like overlaying, text and stuff.
I know, but in India, the market was a lot bigger because at that time, like 2001 or so, a lot of people actually, a lot of companies and TV stations actually switched to the PC already. But Petro Tichenko was still, exporting Amigas. And as we all know, he got the magic Amiga package that he was selling a few years ago because he bought them back from India to Germany. So this is how we got to know all this story. Yeah. Anyway,
we had like the TV guide channel that kind of tells you what is on all the different stations, and there'd usually be commercial playing in the top part of it, and that thing ran forever, and I never realized until recently that was an Amiga that was running that whole thing.
Okay.
And I remember we had local access channels, which I don't know if you have them in Europe. Here with our
too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll have like the township will have this their own channel on the cable service, and it's usually garbage because it's nothing. It's local. It's not real TV. It's people, with the exception of maybe Uncle Floyd, because he's universally known everywhere, even though he's only got a public access TV show. But so I remember seeing that all the time, and one day it wasn't working, and there was a Guru meditation up on the screen. And this is back in like the 90s or something. So I remember thinking like, awesome, yeah, it's an Amiga, but I don't know how long they used them either.
Also, we had one special at our booth. If you talk about the 90s and the 80s in the end, our partner Jürgen had some printed magazines with him, and I don't know which these were. It was Input, I think, and
64
magazines. And people who could not sit at the machines actually to read our magazine could sit there, and I think after a whole day at the Gamescom, it was nice to sit there and you could read in these old magazines from 1985, for example, and it was very fun for a lot of people because all the topics they were there in the magazines were the same topics as now, actually.
Privacy issue, desocializing,
It was all the same. The only thing what was very funny, the things you had to buy there, all people were laughing at you had 1 megabyte expansions for 800 euro, for example, or Deutschmark in the end. Huh? And we had a lot of fun, and people started talking with us about the good old times in the end. And our Jürgen told them a lot of the modern times with the old machines, and it was quite a lot of people coming there and not just staying there for 2-3 minutes just watching around. It was sitting there, getting contact with us, talking about an hour in the end, and get back in these times. And well, we had a good time with people there in the end.
It's like every year people are like, what? There's still new software and hardware for it? Can't believe it. Why are you doing this? It's a waste of time. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Not at all. Not at all.
You know, and there were, for the first time this year, there were actually some youngsters, like 10, 11, 12. And I'm like, okay, so this must be pretty boring for you. And she said, no, of course not. I have a C128 at home that I'm using. Okay. And you know, other guys, small ones, were telling us, you know, those old computers really had some charm and were a lot better than the new stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
And that was quite surprising, because last year it was like, okay, it's not a game, let's go away, you know. And like, I'm so glad that I didn't live back in the day. It's awful. Okay, so last year it was like, okay, thank you very much. But this year we had really some kids that were into old electronics.
Yeah.
And found it interesting.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for having such a simplistic system where you can easily, you know, understand what every aspect of the machine does and still have it be a computer. You know, and again, I'll make the comparison to the Mac that's sitting in front of me. I have no idea how this works. I can take it apart. There's chips in there. I don't know what they do.
Well, you can't take it apart so easily because Apple is gluing everything together.
Mine is a 2012, so it is pre-glue, so I can take it apart.
So it's a
That's why I still have.
seal.
Yeah, that's why I still have it, because I can still take it apart and upgrade it, whereas I can't do that with the newer ones. But again, I can take it apart and look at things, and I don't know what this chip does. I don't know how this works, or even if I do know how it works, you know what it is. Like, that's a Bluetooth controller, but I don't know how it works.
Whereas, well, you can look at the protocol. It's available online.
Well, right, but I mean, you know, actually doing anything with it. The 64, I can open it up and look and be like, I know exactly what this chip does. I know how to manipulate this chip. I know what commands do what with this, where it lives in memory, all this stuff that I could never tell you with this.
If you want to do this on a Mac, you have to go through all these layers.
Right.
Right. The system, so.
I know how to drill a hole into a case.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I know how to do that.
What was nice also, I think this year we had a lot more contact to the other booths around us.
Oh,
actually
definitely.
we had Polyplay not exactly beside us, but we could see them. And Polyplay, I think, are very, very interesting because they produce a lot of things actually in new games for old platforms. And this is not just our Commodore 64 and the Commodore Amiga, it's also the Amstrad Schneider CPC, the MSX and the Sinclair in the end. And they had all these machines there, and you could play all these games. And what was very nice in the end for us was we could talk to the developers, and the developers were there, and you could play the game with the developer in the end. And I played, the graphics like me, I played this game, just this soccer game. Also, C64 Table Soccer, Spin All 4 Table Soccer. I don't know if you know this game, but it's very, very fun. And while we were playing, you had this tech talk with all the people doing this stuff, and it's very charming and interesting. And we saw a lot of things coming up in the future, like Eye of the Beholder 2 for the C64 running, a perfect conversion of the Amiga version, and some tech tricks from the graphician who he said, hey, you do want to see the newest shit for the C64, which is coming out next year? And I said, yes, take it to me, and he had what's it called? The ship from the SNES from Nintendo. This Super 7 mode, I think it is.
Mode 7, it's called.
Mode 7. Yeah.
Mode 7, yeah.
And
it's a pseudo 3D scrolling.
Yeah, sure. That's it. Yeah. And they programmed Mode 7 for the C64.
Really?
And we could play in a little car and scrolling perfectly and smooth. And you could, you could play like on this SNES in the end, on the SNES.
Yeah.
And the graphican you were actually talking about, was Oliver Lindau, and he was the graphican of Starbyte software back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, so how do they do it? Is it a cartridge? How do they interface that?
Well, they have the Ultimate Drive and just had some images on there. I don't know. So they loaded up some stuff from this Ultimate cartridge, and and also what's it called? Chester Colson was also there. This is a program of Sam's Journey.
Mm-hmm.
I know, we already had an interview with him.
Yeah, and he showed his version for the NES. And it's sexy as hell too, you know? And what was nice that a lot of people who were at Scene World and talked to us and couldn't believe that we love and live with old hardware, we could say, hey, man, go over there and then play the games. Look at the games, come back and read about them. This year was very interactive in the end, no?
Oh yeah,
that was very fun for me. I think, not for me only, but I really loved it this year.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah, so we can summarize: the big publishers are more focusing on our needs now. And
Sam's Journey is when is that coming out for the NES?
Oh, I don't remember. Did you, Jörg? Do you?
He didn't tell me.
No. But actually, it looked very nice. And
when it's out.
Yeah, when it's out, it will be polished up. But I think it was very a good demo. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But Chester Colson is Chester Colson, you know.
Yeah, he is. The only one.
I mean, he did Metal Dust. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Bomb Mania, Ice Guys, all that stuff. He did the Turrican 3 demo that unfortunately wasn't released back in the day, finally. So, we could say we had a lot of fun. We met more people than ever from other booths, from other places. So if you are a retro lover like us, and I guess that is why you are listening to this podcast.
Did you sign any autographs? Did you sign any autographs?
Nobody wanted me to sign anything. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
Next year they will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we are famous.
The one I did at a video game con last year. I signed the autograph, but they really wanted Martin's.
Why?
I don't know. They thought you were adorable.
Because you are a little cute teddy bear.
Yes, that's right. They called
Yes. Oh, I'm good as hell, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, I'm sorry, and women and girls, he's already taken.
Oh, I'm taken. Yeah.
Taken.
Don't tell them that. Our subscriber count will drop instantly.
Nice.
So,
yeah, I guess that is really all from Gamescom there to say. 1 hour of Gamescom, right?
That is excellent.
Or did I miss anything, Martin?
You missed all the fun around there. You missed the main topic. We had the interview last week, 2 weeks ago, databases with retro gaming. You missed all the stuff on the party stuff, like like every year, Game Boy music, retro music on stage, Chris Hülsbeck live, me live DJing on the
Yes, you were. Yeah.
Oh, I have some pictures there. I will get them to you so you
can
pop
them in.
Next time I will do some what do you say if you like exhibit does on the cars? I will do some aufbohren, Karren aufbohren. What do you say?
Pimp.
I will pimp my Amigas then with some SeaWorld stuff. Because when I am DJing, I just stopped using these TFT monitors. They are handy, but in the end, it's not that fun. If you're staying on stage and have these OCRTs, it's more sexy, but it's
Yeah.
they are big as hell. But I will pimp them with some SeaWorld logos.
In the front, so people have to look around it.
No one.
Yeah. If you want to make notes on a computer, use a permanent marker.
Yeah, exactly. So Martin, as an Amiga guy, what do you think of the new Amiga OS 3.1.4?
I bought it. I didn't install it because I didn't have the time for doing anything in the end. Jörg knows he's trying to get the video for I don't know how many weeks now.
6 weeks.
But I'm happy that Amiga Bill did some installation videos, so I can do it for myself too. I am really excited about it because I don't want to install 3.5 or 3.9 on my system.
Right.
Because I don't need all this stuff, but I am pleased with the new icons. I am pleased with all the limitation garbage is now gone. With you can use bigger compact flash cards now, and I think this is a really cool update. In my for me, because I'm not this power user using Amiga OS 4 and up and modern things. So if I would use a Viper here in my machine, yeah, I would go for Amiga OS, I don't know what. But staying with a plain Amiga here and DJing with it, I need a stable system with no nonsense at all. So I'm really pleased with it.
Yeah, I want to get it. I'm kind of waiting for. I'm holding out for a time when they're offering like an actual physical kickstart that I can throw in there because.
Sure, I didn't know that. I just bought it. I saw it. I bought it. And then I saw, hey, you have to use an EEPROM burner with it, and fuck it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll see. But do you want it too?
I didn't get it yet. No, I'm like I said, I'm holding out for there to be a physical ROM update.
Okay, I could send you my copy of this if you just wanted to play around with it in the end. Like I saw, you can get a copy of the Kickstarter on disc then, yeah? Or did I get this wrong?
No, the Kickstart currently, I think it's like it's soft kicking, like it's stored on the hard drive or on the floppy or whatever, so it's automatically loaded over what's in there at the moment, which is, I mean, that works, but you know, I'm just kind of weird. I like to be able to try to figure out how to get a Kickstart to work in a Rev 5 A500. Because you got to like wire different pins together and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of excited about it just because it's new and it supports 68,000 max. Like you don't need 68,000 Amigas. Like you don't need because 3.5 and 3.9 need a 020, I think.
Well, you could say in the maximum amount of Amigas possible. So
yeah,
Mac
exactly right.
Yeah.
Amiga was the fastest Mac ever made, actually.
Yeah. You had, what's it called, the emulation? You had this Mac OS emulation on Amiga with a plain Amiga. It was no problem. It was something with shape. No.
It was Sheep Shaver or something like that?
Anything like this, I don't know.
Yeah. And it was because the fastest Mac ever made was a 40 megahertz 68040. If you had an Amiga with a 68060, you're going to blow it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend named Mac. He had an Amiga.
Yeah.
The Amiga really does amaze me because I had my first Mac was a Classic 2, which had a something megahertz 68030. Right, so it wasn't one of the. I actually let me pull it up because I can tell you exactly what it had. Scroll, come on. It the very first one I got, it was one of those little black and white all-in-one dealies, which I picked up at a thrift store for $8. And it had, come on, show me the window. Oh, there's the window, main. Sort models, come on now, oh, for God's sake. Everything is slow, my computer is so slow. Well, either way, while this is figuring out what the hell it's doing, it had a 68030 in it, which was at least 16 megahertz, probably more than that. And it had like 10 megs of RAM, actually, 10 megs of RAM, 40 meg hard drive. And this Amiga 500, which was a 7 megahertz 68,000, running off of a floppy for a while. Now it's running off of a compact flash card. Runs circles around it with with 1 meg of RAM. The 512 plus 512 blows that Mac out of the water. Like that Mac playing, there was a piece of software, a sound tracker, that would play mod files. When that thing was playing a mod file, it was using every chunk of power that Mac could squeeze out of it to do it. Like, you couldn't do anything else. Forget trying to do anything else. The Amiga, you play a mod file, I can go and do 10 other things while it's doing that with no slowdown at all. Which, it blows my mind that a machine with hardware so much below what that Mac was. Yeah, it's a 16 megahertz 030.
But we had the same discussion yesterday with our last guest.
Yes.
That some things were already invented, and then the progression went reverse, and people had to reinvent stuff.
Yeah. Well,
like
I think
touch screens.
With the Mac, it was largely the OS. The OS was just really sloppy and ugly. I mean, it was good for the time, but again, Amiga OS was a very, very good operating system.
Yeah.
It still is. I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'd like to do more with it.
Yeah.
That is my goal. That is when I got my 500, my goal for that was to actually use it as like my desktop machine at home.
Yeah.
Because I am so much more. When I used my C128 as my main machine, I was way more productive because I opened up a word processor and that's all I have. Yeah. With the Mac, I open up a word processor and then I get a notification from Facebook and I'm looking over here and I'm looking over there and I don't do anything.
But actually, we had an interview with Andreas Margel from Amiga Future because they had their 20th anniversary this year. And he also mentioned that Amiga is still his main computer, but he uses a PC anyway for modern stuff like Facebook and so on.
Well, yeah,
because SSL and so on is too big, the encryption for an Amiga to handle, and all this other stuff that wouldn't work on an Amiga, like layouting professionally in the magazine.
So, heute sind wir hier auf der Gamescom und wir reden mit Andreas Margel von Amiga Future.
Hallo, grüß dich.
Hallo, du machst ein Jubiläum mit deinem Team heute. Praktisch.
Ja, heute nicht, vor ein paar Monaten. 20 Jahre haben wir gehabt im Januar.
Seit 98.
Genau,
Wie kam es denn dazu? 20 Jahre Amiga Future.
Wir haben 20 Jahre durchgehalten. Wir hatten halt die Idee vor 21 Jahren, dass ein Spielemagazin mal wieder kommt. Und damals gab es eigentlich in der Richtung gar nichts. Da haben wir uns halt durchgesetzt. Und nachdem der Markt zusammengebrochen ist, haben wir einfach alleine weitergemacht.
Das Interessante ist ja, du hast im Vorgespräch gesagt, du lebst davon sogar. Das heißt, man kann damit noch ganz gut...
Nein, Amiga Future nicht.
Okay.
Amiga Future nicht, sondern von der Software, die wir vertreiben, ja. Amiga Future ist für mich eine Nullnummer.
Okay.
Also arbeiten alle ehrenamtlich.
Okay, verstehe. Und was macht ihr bei der Amiga Future so?
Alles rund um Amiga. Also wir haben da keine Grenzen. Ob das jetzt Spieletests sind, Anwendungen, Hardware... Messebericht, wirklich alles.
Und das Ganze zweisprachig?
Genau, Deutsch und Englisch.
Okay. Und warum habt ihr euch nicht entschieden, auf nur eine Sprache zu fixieren, nur Englisch? Lohnt sich das überhaupt? Gibt es überhaupt genug deutsche Leser?
Wir sind an sich aus Deutschland, deswegen haben wir gesagt, ein deutsches Magazin. Englisch haben wir immer so liebäugelt, dann die Total Amiga. Der war mal gut in Kontakt, der hat damals aufgehört, der Hauptredakteur. Und dann haben wir im Endeffekt die Abonnenten übernommen und haben seit Ausgabe 67 auch in Englisch gemacht.
Okay. Was waren denn in den 20 Jahren so die Meilensteine, um mal rückblickend zu betrachten?
Viele. Also an sich alles. Ob es jetzt hier die Gamescom ist, dass wir jetzt fast 100 Quadratmeter auf der Gamescom haben, ob es die Amiga 32 war, wo wir nicht mal mehr auspacken konnten, weil uns Leute gestürmt haben, dass das jetzt immer noch erscheint, nach 20 Jahren, dass wir 40 Leute sind, über 40 Leute inzwischen arbeiten an der Amiga Future, dass wir die schon übernommen haben, also es gibt viele Sachen. Also.
Das heißt, der Name ist da Programm, Amiga hat wirklich Zukunft.
Es ist nicht mehr der Hauptrechner wie früher, aber ich meine, er macht Spaß.
Wie siehst du denn das? In der Retro-Szene wird ja häufig gesagt, der Amiga ist so eine Randerscheinung. Hauptsächlich wird eher der C64 mit neuer Software und Hardware supported. Siehst du das auch so?
Also wir kriegen das Set mit Testberichten voll. Also nein.
Siehst du nicht so? Nein. Okay. Wie betrachtest du neue Spiele, zum Beispiel Reshoot R vom Richard Löwenstein, der ja praktisch damals auch Amiga-Joker-Redakteur war? Also das alte Pioniere und Veteranen, die da zurückkamen auf die Amiga-Plattform.
Ich finde es interessant, weil, ich kann mal sagen, die sind ja anscheinend nie wirklich losgekommen. Der Richard war ja schon immer, also der hat sich immer mal erkundigt, den haben wir in Kontakt mit ihm gehabt. Der hat sich immer schon für Amiga interessiert, auch weiterhin damals, wie er aufgehört hat. Und dass er natürlich jetzt das Spiel so programmiert, finde ich toll. Das ist ja nicht das erste VM, es gab das Vendetta. Auch ein tolles Spiel, haben wir uns auf der Homepage sogar. Passiert oft. Vector 5 ist auch schon das Beispiel.
Und was ist jetzt dieses Hauptaugenmerk von Amiga Future? Habt ihr auch eine Heft-CD?
Wir haben eine Cover-CD, wo wir Dokumente drauf haben, ab und zu auch ein paar Vollversionen. Aber der Hauptaugenmerk ist an sich eigentlich das Heft an sich. Bisschen wie WM-Medizin, die auch nicht extra, sondern wirklich rein das Heft immer.
Okay. Und wie oft erscheint die Amiga Future so ungefähr?
Alle 2 Monate.
Ah, okay. Und jetzt, sagen wir mal, hat sich der Inhalt in den letzten 20 Jahren gewandelt vom Magazin oder ist es dasselbe wie 1998?
Nein. Wir waren ja reines Spielemagazin am Anfang und dann, nachdem der Markt weggebrochen ist, alle Magazine aufgehört haben, Amiga Plus hat aufgehört, Amiga Magazin, alle haben aufgehört. Da haben wir natürlich dann jemand gesagt, okay, wir schließen wir und inzwischen ist das Magazin mit allen beschäftigt. In der nächsten Ausgabe haben wir einen Artikel drin, einen kleinen zwar nur über Papiermodelle.
Okay. Das klingt ja so ein bisschen, was Nintendo macht mit diesen Papierwerkzeugen und so.
Eine Seite, die haben von Elite die Raumschiffe als Papiermodelle veröffentlicht,
wow,
die ich halten kann. Und dann einer unserer kleinen Artikel. Das ist nur ein kleiner Artikel, aber wir beschäftigen uns mit allem, was damit zu tun hat.
Wie siehst du die Entwicklung von diesen New Generation Amigas, die es jetzt der letzten Jahre gab?
Ich finde es gut, aber ich finde es wichtig, dass man beide Richtungen geht. Also die Classic Amiga, weil das mit der Viper ist interessant. Und die 3660 und solche Sachen, aber gleichzeitig auch ins OS 4, 1 und was auch immer es kommt. Und da passiert auch viel im Hintergrund. Es wird bloß wenig darüber berichtet. Kann man auch nicht berichten, weil ich habe jeder das nicht unbedingt möchte wieder, das ist das andere.
Du hattest vor kurzem ein Textinterview gegeben und in diesem Textinterview habe ich gelesen, Amiga ist dein Hauptrechner, stimmt das?
Amiga One 500, ja. Das ist mein Hauptrechner. Da läuft auch zum Beispiel die FIBO drauf, die Kundenverwaltung, Abo-Verwaltung, alles.
Wow.
E-Mails, Champ, es gibt nichts Besseres als Champ. Opus natürlich, keine Leiter für die Texte schreiben. Aber natürlich brauchst du auch einen PC, heutzutage brauchst du es einfach.
Wollte ich gerade fragen, also du bist nicht 100% Amiga?
Geht nicht. Social Media, Facebook und Co., die Druckdaten überprüfen, Druckdaten abliefern. Ginge alles auf den Amiga, aber dann müsst ihr die Woche 30 Tage haben, also das geht einfach nicht mehr.
Also das Problem ist praktisch, es gibt schon neue Browser und so, nur die Konfiguration und das Einrichten ist beim Amiga immer so eine Sache.
Und die Schnelligkeit vor allem.
Okay, verstehe.
Die SSL-Verschlüsselung ist das beste Beispiel. Auf einem Browser, auf einem 68K-Rechner hast du echte Probleme. Und du musst halt einfach, wenn du Druckdaten hochladen tust, SSL oder Online-Banking, das ist ein Faktor Zeit einfach.
Das heißt, ihr nutzt bei der Amiga Future moderne Technik, um das Hobby, Retro, Amiga Future zu unterstützen.
Genau, es wird schon PC-Layoutet.
Okay.
Das macht der Profi-Layouter bei uns, das ist kein Amateur. Und der arbeitet dann nur noch auf PC.
Wie groß ist das Team ungefähr?
40 bis 50 Leute. Also Homepage, alle drum und dran, 40 bis 50 Leute.
Wow, ist das schon ein großes Team?
Ja, aber es soll ja auch noch Hobby bleiben.
Okay.
Es soll ja keiner wirklich 24 Stunden arbeiten.
Verstehe. Und es ist in den letzten 20 Jahren sozusagen gewachsen, würde ich mal schätzen.
Ja, Beispiel ist, wir haben die Facebook-Seite jetzt seit ein paar Jahren. Jetzt haben wir einen festen Redakteur dafür, Thomas, der sich dann nur darum kümmert, sonst nichts. Er hat ab und zu auch einen Artikel, aber das Hauptjob ist Facebook-Seite. Kostet viel Zeit, das unterschätzt jeder. YouTube-Channel wollen wir machen. Da machen wir auch jetzt einen festen Redakteur dafür, genauso wie Google Plus. Das Das sind so alles die Bereiche.
Verstehe. Ich habe schon gemerkt, ihr seid sehr schnell am News sozusagen sammeln und dann veröffentlichen. So habe ich auch von der Scene bei News bei Amiga Future gesehen. Ihr macht das wirklich schnell. Wenn da was Amiga Neues ist, gleich weiter promoten. Seid ihr wirklich fix in der Geschichte.
Wir haben eine gute News-Seite, aber da ist es auch so, da brauchen wir noch Leute dafür, weil das einfach, in Endeffekt macht es der zweite, dritte los. Es sind zu viele los. Wir wollen halt mehr haben, wir wollen natürlich über allem berichten auf der Homepage, aber da brauchst du Leute.
Also es ist praktisch nicht so, wie viele sagen, Amiga ist nichts mehr los, sondern du hast eher die gegenteilige Experience. Es ist zu viel los und du brauchst eigentlich mehr Leute. Das heißt, du suchst immer noch Mithelfer.
Leute, weil es genauso mit Heft, jeder sagt, das Heft kriegen wir immer voll. Wir haben eher das Problem, dass es zu voll wird.
Wow, okay.
Aber du musst natürlich die Leute haben, die das dann in der richtigen Zeit noch schreiben. Das ist eher das Problem. Du musst natürlich den Artikel fertig bekommen. Material gibt es bis zum Umfallen.
Ist ja interessant. Die Amiga-Community tut immer stöhnen, wie wenig los ist, und du hast genau die gegenteilige...
Es wird gerne vieles übersehen.
Ja, okay.
Das ist das. Man hat einen gewissen Scheublick in eine Richtung, sagt, das und das ist Sache und alles. Es gibt Leute wie OS4 zum Beispiel, die sagen nur OS4, dass es jetzt die Vampire gibt, was da alles abläuft. Apollo Flair, AGA, wir haben jetzt morgen 600 mit AGA da.
Wow.
Das ist übersehen.
Okay. Das ist schon krass. Selbst bei den Community-Leuten, die es eigentlich besser wissen müssen.
Ja, weil sie meistens in eine Richtung gehen.
Verstehe.
Sie sind stur, das und das ist ihr Ziel. Schau nicht nach links und rechts. Aber es ist ja so, wenn es aus der OS4 kommt, Software, kann man das ja vielleicht auch für Morpheus veröffentlichen oder für AROS oder auch für 68K. Da wird viel zu wenig zusammengearbeitet.
Ja, da müssen wir auch noch dran arbeiten, an den Plattformunterstützung.
Ja. Leider über diese Rahmenspiele für nichts.
Okay.
Wenn es jetzt eine Firma macht, verstehe ich es noch. Die
Ja.
wollen Geld verdienen.
Ja.
Aber die User selbst auch noch, das verstehe ich nicht.
Verstehe ich, okay. Heißt, du würdest dir mehr Zusammenarbeit zwischen den einzelnen Bereichen wünschen?
Grundsätzlich, ja.
Aha. Wo geht denn das Ziel hin die nächsten 20 Jahre?
Also 40-Jährige haben.
Das ist so eine Entwicklung in der Community in Amiga, wo es die nächsten 20 Jahre hingeht. Mal ganz weit gegriffen.
Kannst du nicht sagen. Also
Kannst du nicht
sicher,
sagen.
OS4-Entwicklung wird weitergehen, es wird auch PowerPC-Serien geben. Die Viper finde ich sehr interessant. Also Standalone wird dann mal interessant nochmal. Weil natürlich jetzt jemand die Chips ausgibt für die 68K, das du reparieren musst. Also ich will jetzt ehrlich gesagt keine Grenzen mehr sagen. Es wird niemals der Nummer 1 Rechner werden, wie viele gerne hätten oder sowas. Es ist ein Hobbyrechner, das soll Spaß machen. Es ist die Nummer 1, das soll einfach Spaß machen. Und das macht er.
Und so ist es bei dir auch mit der Amiga Future, du willst einfach Spaß haben und es als Hobby betreiben, zumindest.
Meistens.
Ja, mit dem
wenn das Heft wieder fertig ist, dann habe ich wieder Spaß.
Das vergessen viele. Die sagen immer, toll, dass ihr was macht, aber die wissen gar nicht, wie viel Manpower dahinter steckt und wie zäh das teilweise ist. Von einem Meilenstein auf den nächsten, bis dann das Heft fertig ist.
Du kennst es ja selbst, du kriegst
genau.
irgendjemand muss den Text schreiben, dann lässt noch jemand drüber korrigieren über den Text.
Ja, genau.
Alle Fehler findest du grundsätzlich immer nicht. Dann muss der Text übersetzt werden ins Englisch oder ins Deutsche, je nachdem. Dann muss da auch wieder Korrektur gelesen werden, dann muss es layoutet werden. Dann wird das PDF nochmal zu den Redakteur geschickt, ob er einen Fehler findet. Er findet den Fehler, 100 Pro, dann geht der Layouter nochmal drüber. Das ist...
Wie ist das mit der Übersetzung ins Englische? Passiert das 1:1 oder habt ihr da eine gewisse Verzögerung oder habt ihr eins, was ihr bevorzugt oder macht ihr alles gleichzeitig?
Die Hefte erscheinen gleichzeitig, das heißt, wir haben teilweise die Effekte, dass ein Artikel geschrieben wird, ein anderer wird layoutet, der andere wird übersetzt, der andere wird korrigiert, das geht kreuz und quer. Wichtig ist, am Schluss muss er fertig sein.
Und das seit 20 Jahren?
Ja.
Super.
Lange Zeit.
Super. Und du selber hast ja erzählt, dass du auch so ein paar persönliche Anekdoten hattest. Du hast selber schon, wenn ich mich nicht irre, für Hans Ippisch gearbeitet, richtig?
Ja, ich war Redakteur bei der Amiga Games natürlich.
Wow.
Das war für ihn. Ich war bei der Amiga Games, ich war bei Amiga Plus habe ich geschrieben, Amiga Magazin habe ich geschrieben, bei der Special habe ich damals geschrieben, habe die CDs gemacht für manche, die Amiga Magazin CD-Serien habe ich teilweise gemacht. Also wir waren schon überall. Bei APC und TC gibt es das seit über 25 Jahren. Wir waren praktisch überall dabei.
Ja, viele sehen halt Amiga Future und vergessen dann praktisch deine Vergangenheit so ein bisschen zu erkunden, ne?
Ja, Amiga Future ist in dem Sinne ein Produkt, wenn man es genau nimmt. Auch wenn es viele schon anders formulieren als Firma oder sonst was. Aber an sich ist ja das eine Zeitung. Und dahinter steht halt die Firma APC und TCB. Und uns gibt es halt seit 25 Jahren, über 25 Jahren schon.
Wow, okay, krass. Und es gibt einige Sachen, die du abgekupfert hast von deinen vorherigen Amiga-Jobs bei Hans Ippisch oder anderen Magazinen, wo du sagst, da haben wir bei Amiga Future das aufgegriffen und haben das verbessert, oder?
Nein, also mein Vorbild war die ASM. Weißt du noch, ob du sie noch kennst?
Ja, aktueller Softwaremarkt kennt man,
die alten Redakteure noch. Das war an sich mein Vorbild immer, weil die habe ich geliebt. Der lockere Schreibstil, das Duzen, nicht so förmlich, wie das Amiga-Magazin zum Beispiel. Amiga-Magazin ist sehr förmlich wieder. Die Games waren mir zu verspielt. Und die ASM hat eine schöne Mischung gehabt am Anfang. Später, wie der Redakteur ausgetauscht hat, hat man was vergessen, aber am Anfang war die einfach top.
Okay.
Und das hat mir halt gefallen und das war also meine Zielrichtung damals eigentlich.
Du hast gesagt, du suchst doch Leute, die dich unterstützen. Was müsste ein typischer Supporter von Amiga Future mitbringen, damit du sagst, es hilft dir?
Zuverlässigkeit ist das Wichtigste. Mir bringt es nichts, wenn einer sagt, ach, ich mache jetzt das und 3 Wochen später, ach du Scheiße, keine Lust mehr. Und wenn
Durchhaltevermögen.
Durchhaltevermögen, ja. Und das Wichtigste ist ja bei der Zeitung Pünktlichkeit. Wir können nicht zur Druckerei sagen, ach ja, schaffen es nicht, wir bringen mal morgen die Druckdaten. Das funktioniert nicht wirklich.
Verstehe.
Das geht schief.
Verstehe.
Also man muss mal pünktlich sein.
Super.
Und bei allen anderen Sachen, man kann sagen, gut, pass auf, ich arbeite jetzt nur 2 Stunden die Woche.
Ja.
Auf diese 2 Stunden muss man sich verlassen können natürlich. Und dann natürlich auch das richtig gemacht, wenn nicht hingeschlampt wird.
Cool.
Da legen wir sehr viel Wert drauf.
Qualität ist also auch ein Thema.
Deswegen wollen ja auch Newsredakteure haben, dass dann die Qualität noch besser wird.
Verstehe.
Ja, momentan ist es ein bisschen, ist zwar vieles dabei, aber nicht alles und auch noch zu schnell alles.
Also YouTube und Newsredakteure werden noch gesucht.
Alles. YouTube, Newsredakteure, Google Plus Redakteure, sehr gute Tester, die Anwendung, Software braucht man noch. Alles.
Super.
Jeder Bereich an sich.
Wo können sich Leute darüber informieren und dich kontaktieren, wenn sie Interesse haben?
Einfachste zu merken ist amigafuture.de.
Super.
Da einfach.
Wunderbar, danke ich für das Interview.
Danke,
sehr,
danke.
sehr interessant. Danke ich dir. Okay.
But now I wonder though, because you can take a phone. Like if you look at the Facebook app on your phone, the layout is different from what it is online. And it's not like it's just taking the phone layout of the web page. It's taking the information and parsing it the way it wants to. So I wonder how much of a problem it would be to make a Facebook app on the Amiga or the 364 that would just grab that just general HTML or text data from Facebook and just parse it in a way that would look okay on screen.
Like I said, according to him, the SL encryption is too much for the Amiga to handle. That's the main problem.
I wonder if there's a way that you could offload that, like a lot of the stuff that